The material discussed in this program is for information purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a recommendation for investing or as legal advice. Each person has his or her specific situation, circumstance, and objective, and should consult their own personal advisor or counsel. It's Thursday morning here on KSJE, and Jason Calcote is joining me now from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation to talk about the economy. Jason, good morning.
Morning.
Never a dull moment these days, is there for you, right? Lots going on.
Lots going on. We had to start off domestically a little bit.
Sure.
We had some U.S. business investment data for July come out, and it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Okay.
This is a report from the Commerce Department.
Right.
Again, the Commerce Department, their main concern is really promoting economic growth. They gather economic and domestic data for business and government decision making. And then they set some industry standards as well.
Okay.
So they came out and said that they keep track on the orders for non-defensive capital goods, core capital goods, and that rose a little bit. We got a mixed bag here, so about 0.4% the orders for those are up, but it missed the forecast by quite a bit. It was about half.
They're expecting stronger numbers.
Mm-hmm. They're expecting more around 1%. So domestically, we're still buying, but it's seeming to slow down a little bit. And then the major numbers that they came out with were the shipping data. The shipment of core capital goods fell about 0.7%. So that's last month, and that's the highest drop since October of 2016.
Yeah.
So that could really, you could think of that as a direct result of the trade tension between us and China.
Okay.
Right now.
Gotcha.
So I mean, and then to add to that, we had President Trump on Friday come out and announce a whole new round of tariffs just a few hours after Beijing, I think, announced their own.
Right.
So
that kind of back and forth, right?
Back and forth.
Now, this morning, I've heard that China may delay some of their stuff. So maybe there is a little glimmer of hope there, or light, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, that seems to be the song and dance that we do, where
we
announce these tariffs and then we kick them down the road a little bit. And
okay.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But now, we're staring this Fed committee meeting in the face again in mid-September. We cut rates already.
Right.
And now they're faced with this combo of we've got tighter financial conditions domestically. Things seem to be slowing down just a little bit. Elevated trade uncertainty, and then this deteriorating global growth. So
everything's slowing down.
Everything's kind of slowing down, and the market is really pricing in another rate cut right now. It's all but certain, according to the market.
Right, that's what they're thinking. But now the markets are lower.
We
were talking before we came on the air that our charts are in the red. I think can't remember recently a year-to-year chart being in the red, and that's what we're showing this morning.
No, we had such a strong first and second quarter that that's been propping us up. But
yeah.
Now,
so if we compare this to last August. This is what we're looking at, everybody, on the screen if you're watching us today. Now, the markets, at least the Dow Jones, is looking like it's opening up from where it closed yesterday, which is good, but still year to year it's down.
Right. Year over year, we are down a little bit, and that can be attributed to what happened in the past couple of weeks.
Sure.
The big drops, the yield curve has inverted again.
Right.
On Wednesday, yesterday, we had bond yields around the world fell to new lows, really. In the U.S., the 10-year hit 1.45%. That's a 3-year low. The 2 years at 1.5. So again, and then we've got there's 2 years above the 10-year, which is an inversion of the yield curve.
Right.
And then the 30-year actually hit an all-time low of 1.91%. So that sounds a little bit more like a savings account yield, than
a bond
30-year bond yield. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's got to be making a lot of people rethink some of their investment options and other things. I mean, again, that affects other types of interest rates that we pay. Consumer interest, does it not
that's
necessarily?
Exactly right.
Or sometimes.
No, that's exactly
I know some
right.
of those are tied to the prime rate and things like that.
Yep, the 10-year especially. That's the one you want to look at.
But as those things go lower and lower and even maybe dip negative, some countries are seeing negative interest rates.
That's exactly right.
Does that mean I have to pay you to hold my money?
Well, that's interesting. So Japan is a three-year negative low, and then in Germany, the 10-year Bund, not bond.
Yeah.
We've got the Bund. It slid to a record low itself of negative 0.72%. So a negative interest rate environment is really, you use those to fight against deflation. Everybody talks about inflation and how we want to keep that in check, but we don't hear about deflation quite as much.
And that's prices just going down.
Exactly. Exactly. The prices of goods and services are going down. The last time that happened was 2007, 2008. It didn't happen very long.
Right.
One of the major times that it happened was the Great Depression.
Sure.
But really what
And that's not good for a number of reasons, I assume, right?
Right.
People,
No,
I mean,
no.
we're okay with prices going up a little, but not down.
We don't want them to go down. That's going backwards. So really, they're designed to combat this by encouraging people and businesses to spend. The way that they work, I mean, the bank's not going to pay you to take a loan out from the bank, but what they will do is charge you to keep your money there, essentially. So you've got banks who, they keep some cash on reserve for their day-to-day transactions, but most of their stuff is at the central bank, at the Fed. And then people and businesses, they have their savings accounts and business checking accounts and what have you at banks. So these are going to have the negative interest rates, where the banks are going to charge you essentially to hold
The
your money
convenience,
there.
I guess, of holding my money and
Right.
being able to have these transactions, I suppose, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so you get this scenario where people are reluctant to keep money in banks and instead will spend it. So it's really designed to try to encourage spending and lending.
Okay,
Because the lending, like I said, that's never going to go negative. No,
Sure.
But it's going to get pretty dang low.
Right.
So that should encourage a lot of spending. A lot of mortgages can be refied during that type of environment.
And we've had really low mortgage rates recently, so I don't know how much lower they can get.
Yeah, hopefully a little lower.
Well, there you go. Okay. Right.
But no,
yeah.
so
Okay. Interesting concept.
yeah, it really is. It really is, and it encourages people to spend. It's difficult to quantify if it actually works or not. There is some good data out there for it.
And we haven't seen that in the United States,
Never.
really,
No.
right? So this is mostly what we're seeing in other countries. You mentioned Japan and maybe some European countries are dealing with these negative rates.
That's right. Japan has used it quite often.
Okay.
That's actually one of their tools that they go to quite a bit. But the flip side of it is it may end up causing more damage because a lot of banks aren't going to be willing to charge their customers to keep money there.
Right.
So now you've got this bank that's, their profit margins are shrinking because they're having to pay to keep at the central bank, but they're not passing that charge on to their customers. So now they're less likely to lend to people they may feel are risky because their profit margins are already shrinking.
Sure.
So
Interesting. Okay.
really kind of a neat tool to see. I mean, if you have to do it, that is a last resort.
Right.
But hopefully we don't see it come to that here.
Okay. Before we run out of time, oil and gas
Oil and
numbers,
gas,
how are they looking?
Yeah, oil and gas, we're at 55.87 a barrel. So it's kind of hanging around in that mid-50 range.
Okay.
Supply and demand issues right now. We've got a little bit of a global glut still. But the destability in the regions that are known for producing the most oil and gas besides the U.S. Is definitely putting a damper on that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Natural gas, we're hanging around 225. It's gone up a little bit.
Okay.
So it was
Well,
green yesterday. But
all right.
yeah, hopefully that cold weather happens soon. And then, if you want some shelter, gold's at about $1,550 an ounce. So it's kind of bouncing around in that 1,500 range.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
We'll see what that means.
holding strong right there. Yeah.
Right. Well, gold is usually the pretty solid thing to do, right, in times of economic uncertainty.
That's right.
I suppose. So, all right, very good. Jason, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Jason Calcote from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation, everybody. He's here with me on Thursdays to talk about the economy on KSJE Farmington.
How do you know what to make of the news? Is it politically inflected? Is it stenography? Is it just plain untrue?